So good morning. I appreciate you all bearing with us as we comb through this very active incident. My name is Joe DeVoe. I'm a lieutenant with the Town of Guilderland Police Department. This morning at about 6:26 a.m. we received a call from the Homewood Suites that reported there was what sounded like a gunshot that came from a room located on the 5th floor. Upon our arrival, the officers observed evidence that was consistent with shots being fired, and at this time we requested mutual aid assistance from surrounding agencies, and we secured the area on the 5th floor and we began evacuating occupants in the other adjacent rooms. While the officers were on scene, they heard multiple gunshots coming from the room on the 5th floor, and ultimately the suspect, who was identified as 33-year-old Chandler McCrae of Albany, surrendered to police and was taken into custody without incident. There was no reported injuries to either the suspect or any other occupants of the rooms in the adjacent rooms. At this time, he's going to be charged with 1 count of attempted murder in the 1st degree, 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon in the 2nd degree, and 1 count of reckless endangerment in the 1st degree. He hasn't been arraigned yet. He's currently being processed. He's scheduled to be arraigned today in the Guilderland Town Court. Our department was assisted by several other agencies: the Colony Police Department Special Services Team, the New York State Police, the University Police Department at Albany, as well as the Albany County Sheriff's Office. There's no reason to believe that there's any risk to the public at this time. The hotel has been secured, and at this time there's no further risk. This seems to be at this point an isolated incident, and this is a current active investigation. So if there's any other information that we discover, the suspect will be charged accordingly, and we can follow up with you guys. Does anybody have any questions at this time?
The shots that were heard by the officers on scene, do they know if those were directed at an individual, if they were just in the air? Any words to the nature of that?
That's currently being investigated. At this time, we believe that the suspect should have known that there were police officers in the hallway prior to the shots being fired. But in terms of motive, we don't have that information at this point.
Was there anyone in the room with the suspect?
No, there was not.
Do you mind spelling his name? The suspect's name?
Sure. The first name's Chandler. It's Chandler, and his last name is McCrae. It's Mccray. 33 years old, yes. Our preliminary investigation reveals that, yes, he was alone inside the room and he was by himself.
And just going over those charges again.
I'm sorry.
So just going over those charges again, you have 1 count attempted murder.
1 count of attempted murder in the 1st degree of a police officer, 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon in the 2nd degree. There was 2 handguns located inside the room, as well as 1 count of reckless endangerment in the 1st degree.
How close were the officers when they heard the shots fired to the door itself? Were they a couple doors down, or were they right outside?
They were pretty close to the room. At the exact distance, I don't have that information at this time, but they were very near to the room. Not at this point. There were several shots at this point. I don't know exactly how many. We're still currently processing the scene at this time.
I saw when we were going there like half an hour ago that there were still officers at the scene. Are you guys still investigating right now there?
Yes, we're currently processing the crime scene, gathering evidence, and conducting our investigation on the scene. The hotel is safe at this point. We still have officers standing by for security of the crime scene. Some of the residents have been allowed to go back to their rooms on the first 4 floors of the Homewood Suites portion of the hotel, and anybody that was staying in the rooms on the 5th floor, we've assisted them with finding a different room. The hotel management has been very cooperative with us in assisting those other residents.
When you hear something like this,
Concern for the safety of other town residents and other people that are inside of our town. Obviously, that's why our department works hard to make sure that this type of thing doesn't happen. And when it does, if in the rare event that it does, we make sure that we respond quickly and effectively.
Did any of the people at the hotel like say they mentioned police during the first rounds and there was sort of
There were some callers that our detectives have spoken to. What the exact things that they've said, I don't have available to me at this time. But we're gathering as many witness statements as we can, and any information that's available to us from other residents in the hotel.
Is,
Personally, I didn't speak to any of the residents of the hotel, but clearly there was some concern from the occupants of the hotel, just based on observations of their facial expressions and mannerisms.
Was it pretty full, the hotel? Were there a lot of people? Like, how many people were evacuated, I guess, is the question.
I don't know an exact number, but there was a substantial amount. Yeah.
is it known why the gun was initially fired at around 6:30 a.m. before police arrived?
We don't have a motive or what caused this to occur yet at this point. 6:26 a.m. was the time that we received the first call from the hotel.
There were multiple agencies there. Do you know how many police approximately were at the scene?
I don't know an exact number, but we had a substantial amount of resources.
You might have already mentioned this. How was the suspect apprehended again?
He was given commands to exit the room. Initially, they were disregarded, but then he eventually egressed from the room, and he was taken into custody by members of the Colony SST.
How long of a time period was that? Would you say?
Approximately an hour and a half from the original call, maybe 2 hours. The exact time frame I don't know. That would be an estimation without looking at it.
Were there negotiations, or was there any back and forth?
We were attempting to make communication with him. It was unsuccessful.
Was there anyone like an assigned negotiator at the scene?
We did have negotiators on scene, yes. I think that's all we're going to have at this time. Any other further developments of the investigation, we will definitely follow up.
Do you know when he's being arraigned in court?
I don't know an exact time. It'll be today. Thank you.
Nice. Thanks, Joe.
DeVoe. Joe.